Yes, hello everybody, this is Ray from Race United and I'm back again. I've just come back from a very interesting video I did, live show, it was a great live show, but this is going to be absolutely wonderful. So this one, I put a few bullet points here that I need you to see. Do you know what I mean? A few bullet points that I need you to see. Now, obviously the caption is there for you to see. It's how the price of pi will be determined in the open network. Now, who's going to determine the price of pi? That's the question I'll be asking you. Who is going to determine the price of pi? And how is it going to be determined? And what will determine that? So many factors involved in determining the price of pi. And all I'm trying to do here is entreating you to follow these. Make sure you're on the right path and making sure that the factors that I list here for you will be like a benchmark that you use. I'm not trying to say use that forcibly or forcefully, but it's just a benchmark. You look at it like, okay, maybe I can use this as a benchmark. I can use this as a springboard to get me to, collectively with everyone, to determine the price of pi in the open network. Anyway, without further ado, you know what to do. Smash that like button, guys. Smash the subscriber button. Become a member. The membership is growing and I'm loving it. I have conversations with my members all the time. They DM me. We have conversations even when I can. But I make sure I'm right there for them. Do you know what I mean? And somebody says I talk too much. Well, if I talk too much, you don't need to watch the channel, my friend. There are other better channels than Race United. Go watch them. They'll give you what you need. Straight to the point and what you need. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. This is Ray from Race United. Now I'm going to talk too much. Remember that. I am going to talk too much, guys. So if you know you don't want me to talk too much, you can go and watch another channel. But if you know you love me talking too much, remain here for the next 10 to 15 minutes while I blab and not go straight to the point. So this video, obviously, I've actually structured in a way that you guys would understand what we are going to do to ensure that the price of pi is determined in the open network. And when I say the price of pi is determined in the open network, we know the enclosed network is going to do some job, it's going to do some work, but it will still be determined by us in the open network. Now, one thing I was saying in one of my live shows is that we do have the power. You understand? We do have the power to help or to aid in the determination of the price of pi. Do you understand? But the one power we don't have is right when the price of pi is determined. After that, it's gone out there. So now we have to do these factors that I'm going to elaborate on first. I'll list and elaborate on. And when we do them, it is going to work perfectly for us, or near perfectly for us, guys. I entreat you, because every video I do, I try to entreat you so you'll understand everything I say. Do you know what I mean? And I'll try and break it down as simply as I possibly can for the layman to understand. I'm not going to be as technical as some other people try to be. I will just be to the level of everyone so you'll understand exactly what I am saying. All right? I'll be right back with all the facts. All right, I'm back. This is Ray from Race United. Now, so how to determine the price of pi or how we are going to determine the price of pi in the open network. So the first thing to do is that it will primarily be affected by its supply. The supply, my friends, the supply. The supply, I've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. The supply is the first thing that will affect the price of pi positively or negatively. Remember that when we say affect has got two ends, positive and negative. So it depends. Now, I have been advocating and obviously trying to project the price of the supply of pi to be, or the total, not the total supply, but the supply during circulation initially will probably be around 1 billion pies. You get what I'm saying? So if the supply of pie is around 1 billion pie, then we can effectively say, obviously, the little contribution we made, when I say contribution, I mean the aid and the utilities that we've used during, we've utilized, or the utilities we've made use of during the enclosed network, and the bartering we've done, and the price of pie that we've all tried to, in a way of consensus, try to agree upon, but not all of us, of course, because people will be bartering between themselves, amongst themselves, we would end up having, all in all, a certain price, eventually. And if that price is what we deem it is, then we can try and start from that. Now, when we start from that, depending on the supply, it would either go up or go down. Because once we have that, we multiply that figure by the supply, we get our market cap. So whatever the market cap is, we need to push it up and up and up. If we can get our market cap to 100 billion, then we can be talking about $100 per pie. If we can try and get our market cap to about 200 billion, then we're talking about $200 per pie. Now this is on condition that we have 1 billion pie in circulation momentarily or at a given time. Now that's on condition that the lockup as well is around the 80% that we've been talking about, and the process is ongoing as slowly as it possibly can. But because our market cap could go up, the supply wouldn't even matter. Because the more we supply, obviously, but we have to be careful. That would take me straight to my next point when I come back. Now, another primary effect that can be had on pie's price, or that could determine the price of pie, is the market's demand for it. The market's demand for pie. You see, this is what I've been preaching to you guys. When I tell you that we have to be careful the way we tout the price of pie, I'm not saying, there was another guy on one of my live shows, he said it's a metaphor. And I know it's a metaphor, I know that. But we have to still be careful, because at the end of the day, there's been initiators, there's been cryptocurrencies that's been there for over a decade before we've been here. You understand? And we barely started. So we have to pay a little respect to those cryptocurrencies that initiated this whole thing. When I say respect, I'm not talking about the respect you have for your parents. I'm talking about respect as in appreciate the fact that they've been here, they've been the founding fathers, and so we are just here to support the ecosystem, the crypto market as a whole. So to do that, we don't have to be touting figures which people will look at as a joke. Even if we said pi could be around $1,000, that would be okay. That would be, I wouldn't say pi would be around $1,000, but if we were touting $1,000 and during the enclosed network we're trading at $1,000 amongst ourselves, then on the outside, like Amazon, all the other big companies, they will look at it and be like, right, okay, we know it's gonna be a bit lower than that, but $1,000, okay, that's sort of close to being realistic, even though it's not that realistic for starters. But when you're touting utopian figures like 314159, you're gonna get people from obviously coin mamas, coin stats, and people who claim to be working with them to say that pi is a scam, although we know it's not a scam, but these people are saying that. So the market's demand for it could affect the price of pi positively or negatively. So again, that's factor number two. Very important. The market's demand for it is so important that I need to emphasize that let's be very careful, guys. Let's be very careful. It's a metaphor, yes, but some people don't see it that way. They see it as real. So they're just going out on it and saying that 31415 or nothing else. I've seen them on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? I've seen them on Twitter, and it's ridiculous. Ludicrous is the word I would use. And all I can tell you guys is, please, let's apply some brake on that. And let's be very cautious. Very, very cautious. I know I talk too much, but I will talk too much. So if you can't watch me talking too much, go and watch it on another channel, I'm afraid. But right now, this is some passionate stuff I'm talking about. And I mean it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean it. I will be right back. So I'm back. This is Ray from Racing United. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Smash the subscriber button. If you're not yet a subscriber, become a member. The membership is growing and I love it. So just, I'm not going to say so much about it. You can see there, you know, I'm putting it right there, the graphics, you know. Click on it. No, don't forget. Click on it. Click on it. All right. Anyway, so factor number 3 that could affect the price of pi, or sorry, not affect, that could determine the price of pi during the closed network, sorry, the open network. What am I talking about? During the open network is availability. So when I say availability, I can also sort of flip it and say scarcity. It's a similar thing. So scarcity. So the lockup in our case, of course, is the one that's going to help with determining the price of pi. Another one. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's so important that you lock up, my friends. Lock up. However much you want to lock up, that's your choice. I'm not going to tell you however much you need to lock up. But the more you lock up, the more scarce pi is. And the more scarce pi is, demand goes up, supply is at a minimal, the price of pi. So you see how interrelated they are. They're so interrelated. You can see I started with a supply. I told you what we can supply, and at the maximum at the beginning, 1 billion maximum. So if it's less, even better at the beginning. And I said demand. Obviously, the market's demand for it. I gave you reasons why. Now, we're on the third one, availability. In other words, I could say the scarcity of it. So the more scarce pi is, the higher the demand, the lesser the supply, the price of pi goes up. Who has the power for that? We. I have the power for that. You have the power for that. And everyone has the power to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Nobody else. So if we can lock up, we create more scarcity. If we create more scarcity, availability becomes much less, which means the supply is less relatively. Demand is high, definitely. And do you know what I mean? So these are the things I've been telling you guys. I've been telling you. This video, I've tried my best not to make it technical. I'm trying to use layman's terms, terms that you'll understand, and terms that I would understand even when I watch it. Do you know what I'm saying? Even when I watch it. So, let's make sure our pi is locked up. Let's make sure it's available. I will be right back. So, number 4. Now, number 4 is an interesting one. It's called competing cryptocurrencies. So, obviously, we know the biggest cryptocurrency at the moment, which is Bitcoin, right? So, Bitcoin and obviously the second best is Ethereum. They're the ones that will be competing with pi. There will be a few, Algorand, Solana, all the other ones, even Shiba Inu, the joke meme currency, it will still be there, you know, be around, hanging around. But the top two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, will be the competing cryptocurrencies. Now, these cryptocurrencies are definitely, they have loyal people behind them. They have loyal investors behind them. But we have us. We have us. We are the strength of pi. And we have strength in numbers. You get what I'm saying? We have strength in numbers. Therefore, like I said, I'm not going to use technical terms here. Very pragmatic. Very, very pragmatic. Do you know what I'm saying? So what I'm going to tell you is, if we have all these competing cryptocurrencies, right, and we think these competing cryptocurrencies are going to be a threat, no, they're not. They might try to be a threat. If anything, I thought it's the other way around. We are the threat. That's why they can't actually say our name. They're scared to say our names because a lot of people have invested in such cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and the other one. Do you know what I'm saying? Ethereum. So as a result, they're thinking that pi is going to be a threat to them and they can't stand the fact that pi is a threat. Do you get what I'm saying? So these competing cryptocurrencies will be there. They'll always be there. But when it comes to the price of pi, yes, they could have an effect. However, we should make sure we're the drivers. If we're the drivers and Bitcoin is not the driver, nothing is going to happen. Our price would definitely keep steadily growing and they will be the ones that would have to follow suit. Therefore, if anything, I thought we're going to help them stabilize their price instead of the fluctuating volatility of their prices. We don't want that, right? We want a smooth, gradual sort of rise, and that will make sure it holds its own and becomes a strong cryptocurrency. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. This is Ray from Ray's United. Hey, I hope you're loving the video so far. If you've watched to this stage and you feel like you're loving it, please smash the like button. smash the like button, and let's all work together as one big happy family who wants the best for our currency. All right. So factor number 5 that could obviously primarily affect the price of pi come open network. I mean, positively affect the price of pi or negatively affect the price of pi come open network is investor sentiment. Now, when I say investor sentiment, like I said, I don't want to use big words, but this is something that, so therefore we must be seen to be ultra serious. I made this point earlier. Remember, I think point number 3 or point number 2, when I made the point about the demand for it and all of that. You know, we have to be serious in our convictions. So we have to be seen to be serious in our convictions with the support of one another, of course, without creating an intoxicating amount of coarseness, friction, and divisions in the pi ecosystem. So the human emotion and hype. You get what I'm saying? So again, let me repeat. Investor sentiment. Very, very important. They see that investors, whoever, when I say investors, I'm not talking about whales. You need investment. You need, for the price of pi to go up or to be at a very substantive figure, we need to make sure that we create a sort of atmosphere, a sort of receptive nature of our currency. Therefore, when an investor is thinking of coming in, the sentiments they hold are much smoother than they normally would initially. So the reception has to be absolutely paramount. And so the optimal reception that an investor could have has to be from the sentiments they hold. Therefore, we must be seen to be ultra serious in our convictions with the support of one another without creating an intoxicating amount of coarseness, friction, and divisions in the pi ecosystem, which is sort of the human emotion part and the hype. We have to be careful. Now, also, the media and public sentiment may play a bigger role as well. That's another thing. The media and public sentiment may play a bigger role. So we have to be careful how we use, how we convey information on Twitter, on Facebook, on all other social media platforms. We have to be very, very, very careful the way we convey information, because remember, social media is where any information you put out there goes away. It just goes. It travels far. Do you know what I mean? In seconds. So you have to be very careful. Make sure you're informative enough. Don't be a hearsay person. Be an I say person. Do you get what I'm saying? I'll be right back. And then number 6. Number six is probably one of the most important because it makes pi so unique. And people don't even realize how unique pi is. This makes pi extremely unique. And this is the token's utility. Now, this is how useful our token is. Therefore, how do we use our token even when we're not on the exchange? What would you say? We do have our utility platforms, right? No other cryptocurrency has such a vast array of utility platforms like Pi. I can tell you that. We have our node, we have all of that. So our security is actually at its best. You get what I'm saying? And besides that, we have our utility platforms where at the moment in the enclosed network, we're building it to make it stronger and to make sure transactions are occurring at a rate that pioneers would find interesting. You know, but to do that, we all have to do something, contribute to the economy. So when I say that, I mean, be a vendor. If you're selling something, get onto one of the utility platforms and register being a vendor. And obviously, being a pioneer, it makes it easier for you to sell or buy your product or buy products. You get what I mean? So don't just be a buyer, also be a seller if you can. You know, register and sell it at a rate that you're comfortable with. You get what I'm saying? So do it, and you would see that our ecosystem would thrive. And if we do that, that could help in the determination of the price of Pi that everybody, and I mean everybody, will be satisfied with. Do you know what I'm saying? So when I come back, I'll do a recap. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, guys. Smash that like button finally before you leave. If you haven't yet smashed it, if you watch it to this stage, you know you're loving it then. So if you're loving it, smash that like button, guys. Smash it. Subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Become a member. The membership is growing. I love it when people become members because they help the ecosystem. Sorry, they help the channel and they help me. Meaning, somehow I'm more enthusiastic in doing more videos for you and sharing the information I have with you. So, obviously, what's the caption of this video? It is how the price of pi will be determined in the open network. Now, I said we pioneers do have the power to do that. We have the power, but we don't realize it yet. Not the exchanges, we have the power. And because we have the power, I'm trying to tell you, the other day, Dr. Nicholas Okali was asked a question during that interview he did on that news station or news channel. And they asked him, what's the price of pi? And he said, the price of pi is what we say it is, what we determine it to be. Obviously, it's a metaphor, but he's not saying that we should go touting it at 314159. Of course, again, it's a metaphor, but he's saying we should hold it valuably. So when I say valuably, I'm trying to say that you hold a certain value to your pi, not the price, because prices can rise and fall the whole time. That's not value. That's volatility. Value is like it's steady. It's steady. It's steady, but rising, of course. Do you know what I mean? Because it's strong. It has a strong base, it has a strong foundation, and it has a strong following. Do you get what I'm saying? No doubters whatsoever, or limited doubters whatsoever. Therefore, that is obviously the thing. So I said the price of pi will primarily be affected by its supply, of course. It will also be primarily affected by the market's demand for it. The market's demand for it. I explained that. If you haven't yet watched it, go and watch it. And I also said the availability, of course. The availability, which obviously in turn means the scarcity. So if you flip it, we're talking about the scarcity of it. And how do we make it scarce? By locking up. If you lock up, you create the scarcity of pi. And then, of course, competing cryptocurrencies, which I spoke about, mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum. But I told you we will obviously surpass them, and once we do that, we will be the ones they will have to follow. We'll create stability in the whole cryptocurrency market. And then, of course, investor sentiments, which I said we should make sure we have we're serious in our convictions, and of course support one another without creating an intoxicating amount of coarseness, friction, and divisions in our pi ecosystem. And then, of course, finally, I said the token utility. And the token utility is how useful our token is, or our coin is. And obviously, we have our utility platform. So therefore, pi is very, very useful. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm so happy. Smash that like button before you leave. I love this video. I know you're going to push it for people to watch it because this is going to be great. The name is Ray. The channel is Rays United. And the word is peace. I love you all.